Be honest, has Kai Havertz proven you wrong? Is he proving everyone within the footballing world and some Arsenal fans wrong? Have you changed your opinion on him? Would it be fair to say Kai Havertz is a contender for signing of the season, both internally with our Arsenal and obviously within the footballing world? Be very honest with yourself. If you cast your mind back to when Kai Havertz signed in August, few people were expecting Arsenal to mount a second consecutive title challenge, let alone Kai Havertz be one of our best and most consistent performers and at the forefront of it. You know, he was given no ratings when the man signed for Arsenal Football Club. And with last week being probably, in my opinion, his best period at Arsenal, where he dumped on his former team Chelsea and put Spurs in a spliff within a week, he's living the dream. It's shameless to suggest he's the signing of the season. I know, people, but again, allow me to humor you. It's fair to say that expectations were on the floor for Kai Havertz for the general public when he signed for Arsenal Football Club. He was living on borrowed time. Obviously, he was damaged goods at Chelsea. He's an ex-Chelsea player. Arsenal fans could not necessarily see how he gets us in his own individual way closer to Manchester City, and again, what Mikel Arteta demands of the football club. I said it myself when I looked at the signings of Declan Rice, Raya and Timber. I loved all of them individually. I did think it was harsh on Ramsdale, but this ain't a video for Raya. Check out the video I've done on him. Going to Kai Havertz, it was just more of me putting almost blind faith in Mikel Arteta rather than the player. I didn't think Kai was a bad player, but I didn't see, you know, what he specializes in. I could obviously see, you know, his movement, all of that stuff he does, but I couldn't see how he'd make us better. But I put my faith in Mikel Arteta because he showed me his talent ID. While he will make mistakes and will get things wrong, in the last 18 months has been bang on. And as I said, he was living on borrowed time. You look at the Athletic, you know, when Kai Havertz signed for Arsenal Football Club, he was already getting the most votes for worst deal of the window. And when you look at it in hindsight, to be fair with you, you know, Caicedo, Mason Mount have done a lot worse than him, really and truly, you know, to be fair. So you have to let the guy off a little bit, if I'm completely honest with you. He's excelling and exceeding expectations. He's showing his versatility, all the stuff he does off the ball. But for me, he's now making decisive actions and decisive moments. Again, for me, the Tottenham game, the North London derby, has to be his best game in an Arsenal shirt. I think he was all over the place. I think he provided a focal point for when Raya was going long. I think he dropped into midfield. I think that pass he played for Bukayo Saka, I want to see that on a more consistent basis. You know, had Jorginho, Martin Odegaard, Thomas Partey, Declan Rice have done that, us Arsenal fans would be waxing lyrical. And again, if nothing more, nobody cares about his price tag because he's putting consistent performances together. Again, you cast your mind back to August when he was getting charity penalties against Bournemouth, and testament to Mikel Arteta and everybody connected to the club for making him feel welcome. Who would have expected him to have 12 Premier League goals, or, you know, at this moment in counting, and 6 assists to match in 34 games? And since March, we know March is where Kai Havertz turns into something crazy. Since March, he's really taking it up a level. When you look at his Chelsea stats, he's only got 13 goals for Chelsea in all his competitions and appearances for them. Yes, one was in the Champions League final, a winner, and I'd love to see him do that at Arsenal. We have to wait another 18 months for that at least. You would imagine within the next 18 months or 2 years, the 24-year-old German international will eclipse that. Now, that's testament to what Chelsea's project has been under Kai Havertz, and it's testament to what Mikel Arteta is promoting. We create more chances. We've got a lot more solidity in our team. Obviously, our project is a lot more aligned with what we want than clearly Chelsea. So naturally, Kai Havertz is going to benefit from that. He's in a system that plays to his strengths. He's allowed to be almost a free roamer, to drop into midfield, to make tactical fouls, pardon my language, to be a shithouser, to link up with teammates, to make good runs off the ball. And he's shown a variety in that. Obviously, you know, the man's 6 foot plus, so defensively from set pieces, and obviously in the opponent's half, like you saw against Spurs, that provides an asset for us. One thing I like about him is he's a fighter. He's a battler. He's a rattler, and you would have seen that in the North London derby against Maddison. You would have remembered, you know, him pushing the manager against Porto, and you'd also remember Newcastle at the end of last year. And I have to give him credit because, you know, it can't have been easy for him. You know, he's been at Chelsea. Chelsea's a massive club. There's a lot of expectation there. Likewise with Arsenal. Obviously, what I've said, the backdrop of him signing for the football club. And again, let's be honest, his performances were terrible, really. He came a long way from that Fulham at home game, but he's kept working working. He's kept doing what you're doing. And again, when you work hard in dark moments, at some point, light starts to shine. And for me, he's making decisive actions. He's having decisive moments. He, in a positive way, he looks a positive shadow of his former self. His body language is a lot more positive. He's letting his nuts hang. He's puffing out his chest. He's just looking a lot better, people. And he's already produced his most productive season in England by some distance. The numbers become even more impressive when you consider, people, he's only played around 30% of his minutes for Arsenal Football Club up front. There was a period, while I don't really want to see him organically start in midfield unless he keeps playing them great passes like he did in the North London derby. I believe he had 3 goals in 4 games from midfield when you look at, around the Luton kind of game. So is it fair to say, because expectations were on the floor, he's a candidate for signing of the season? He's excelled more than Maddison, more than, Mason Mount, more than a lot of people. People were saying Arsenal got the worst deal out of Manchester City and obviously Man United with all of the departures at Chelsea. Whether that's testament to Kai Havertz, our manager, his talent ID, and what's going on at the other clubs, I don't know. I don't care. It is fair to say this man has exceeded expectations. He's found his feet. As said, 12 goals in 34 games is very impressive, really and truly. Who would have thought Kai Havertz would be able to do that? He was named the flop before he was even given a chance. People wrote him off even during pre-season, if you remember in America when we was doing that skills challenge. Speaking of challenges, he needs to keep affecting the game. He needs to keep his form up. He needs to keep scoring. And he needs to remain being one of our most informed players as the Premier League calendar starts to wind down. He is one of the first names on the team sheet and has been. In fact, away at Bayern Munich was the only time I thought, Kai Havertz really, of recent, didn't really do much. I'm not saying we should, rewrite history and not have concerns about Kai Havertz or areas of improvements with like anyone else, but he's firmly found his feet. And at best, he's a reliable and vital squad player. I say squad lightly because if you play like this, you keep your name on the team sheet in the starting 11. But he's a vital player in such, people. I do believe, in my opinion, we cannot let short-term thinking sway us. We are scoring goals for fun. We're creating goals for fun. We have got multifunctional players. I do think we need a striker. Whether Mikel Arteta's thinking has gone from signing a proven, experienced striker to more a project kind of plan B, I don't know. But I still think we need that because there has been occasions where, not just in relation to Kai, who's the topic of the vid, where we've needed such. And I do believe in football, confidence is a very underrated thing. Kai Havertz is really doing the same things he's been doing all season. I actually feel he started to settle, I've said it before, around the turn of the year when we went away and lost to Newcastle around that period. If I'm honest, but when you're confident, he's missing chances, he's going again. To be fair, he's probably, if Odegaard wasn't offside initially in the North London derby, would have had 2 goals. Personally, I love his assist for Bukayo Saka, but Saka let him down because if you remember in the second half, Kai Havertz should have had another assist and Saka should have had a brace, really and truly. It's fair to say, he's exceeding expectations. He's showing his quality. He's showing his consistency. He's showing he's a reliable man, not just for his teammates, but for this football club. And he's doing his thing. As much as I wonder where his long-term position is it in midfield? Is it up front? Once upon a time, Mikel Arteta even said he could play out wide. And I know in the present day, you need to be able to play in a lot of positions, which he has done for Arsenal, Chelsea, and obviously Germany. And you could describe him as a Swiss Army knife. I want to see if Kai Havertz has arrived and if he will be that kind of striker that can develop to get 20 odd goals. Because while he's found his feet in front of goal and is enjoying a really good run of form, would you describe him as clinical? At 24 years of age, which I think is very underrated, it's now time to go up the levels. Unfortunately, Mikel Arteta was able to see that. Mikel Arteta is moving like that person a few years ago who was saying and begging everyone in 2013 to buy Bitcoin for $1. And you could describe Kai Havertz as a Bitcoin, really and truly. Again, performances like he's putting in the past week and the run of form he's been in will quickly endear himself to Arsenal fans. And I say fan favourite lightly, but anybody who slaps it against Chelsea and dunks on Spurs and gets into those sort of moments in big games, which I think Kai Havertz's temperament is suited to, you're going to endear yourself to the Arsenal fan base and undoubtedly be on your way to becoming a fan favourite. At best, nobody cares about that 65 million price tag, which you go back to the summer, we were thinking what's going on there. Is that the best use of wages? But we've got a great manager in Mikel Arteta. We've got a good player in Kai Havertz that's adding to the mix. Let's keep going, Kai. Let's keep going, Arsenal Football Club. Obviously, the primary job of a striker is to score goals, but we all know in the present day, I won't go as far as to say goals are the least important, because goals win games. You don't score goals, you don't win football matches. But we all know in the present day, strikers have a tough task. You could score 20 goals, but if you're not contributing in general play, there's question marks. And likewise, you could do all the other facets of the game, but not necessarily be clinical. And then there's the talking points in which I can't sit here and say Kai Havertz is not clinical because he's in a great patch of form. But when you look at the goals he's scored in his career, I wouldn't necessarily describe him as clinical, nor would I say that's a strong point. But if we negate goals for a sec, where being devil's advocate, again, goals are the most important thing a striker could do. But you could caveat that and argue in a Mikel Arteta system, it's all the other functions of a striker. If scoring goals was the be-all and end-all, Gabriel Jesus, Kai Havertz at present, Trossard, even though he can bag, even Eddie and Nketiah, none of them would be described as clinical or have the pedigree of that. And I think Kai Havertz is a Mikel Arteta striker, so I'm happy to see him find his form. We would never know, had Gabriel Jesus have not got that injury, if Kai Havertz would have gone up front. We know he would have played there on occasion, but you know, he's been able to take advantage of that, and I think everything's come into place. When you look at when Kai Havertz has started up front so far this season, just before we played Spurs, he had 8 games up front, got 6 goals, had 4 assists, minutes per goal stood at 111, minutes per assist was 66, so he's doing everything really. And when you look at his minutes played by position, again, the man is a German Swiss army knife. He's played 738 minutes up front, people, basically. And again, the vast majority of his time has been in midfield for Arsenal Football Club up until recent. And again, you know, he from March/April to now, he's scoring goals for fun. You're seeing it. There's not too many weeks Kai Havertz isn't scoring. What I do love about Kai Havertz is the fact that he's a fighter. I like his movement. I like his, you know, the fact that he acts as a focal point. I think he does all the other aspects well. And if you can continue to score goals, and don't get it twisted, you know, you can score goals and not be effective in the game. And likewise, you cannot score goals and be very effective in the game. I think the modern day is too focused on narrative and statistics. I don't feel many people watch the game, but he's blending them all together. And most importantly, you're making Mikel Arteta look even better. Now, Arteta's not an idiot. He knew if I'm spending 65 million, I've got to make this work for Kai Havertz. He knows what people are probably saying about Kai Havertz. Respectfully to Kai, I don't think internally at Arsenal, I'm not saying Edu was against it or anyone else, but they naturally had to have been concerns. Arteta had the blueprint. He saw what he could do for Kai Havertz, and Arteta's man has repaid his faith in him more than anything. More than anything he's done for him tactically is faith. In life, we need faith. Faith breeds confidence. How many people in life, you know, because I know myself, big up you lot that subscribe and support my content. Do you know what it does for me, people, when you lot say, yeah, I like your content, keep going? It gives you a spring in your step. It makes you puff out your chest and you want to repay that faith. And it makes Mikel Arteta look even smarter, because who would have bet on Kai? Now, we say that Arteta bought him. He was linked with Bayern Munich and Real Madrid. He is a German international. So whatever us commoners that love football have to say, internally in elite sport, they have nothing but admiration for the guy. So with all the expectations on the floor when he signed for this football club and what he's currently doing now, could you argue he's Premier League signing of the season? Let me know, people, because he has a strong case. On that note, let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment under the video. Most importantly, thank you for listening. God bless you all. Peace.
Havertz has been forced out of Chelsea. This is the thing. You see, his missus loves London. Arteta, Lego merchant, wants Kai Havertz. So we got Kai Havertz going to Arsenal. And now they've got their Bergkamp replacement. And I'm saying that. I say it with fucking chest, bruv. You see, this guy will ball out at Arsenal. You think he's going to be a flop. Won more fucking Champions League, Club World Cup, Super Club than the entire history of Arsenal Football Club. You've got an actual fucking born winner going to your football club. You should drink their minerals in, embrace it, and watch your Bergkamp fucking-esque baller, yeah, which he is a baller. He will ball out Arsenal. And Arteta, funny enough, the Lego head merchant, will actually play him in the right position, and he will land the minerals. And it fucking winds me up that we have allowed this player go to Arsenal, yeah, or any club,